This week, Podcast Picks with Jim the Podcast Sherpa presents an episode of Sherpa Samples. These are short episodes to let you know what's out there on the podcast charts that you might want to add to your podcast playlist. And now, here's your host, Jim the Podcast Sherpa. Wait a minute. Is he locked in the bathroom? Again? Let's give him a minute.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. Today, it's a mini episode featuring even more Sherpa samples. We know that the Sherpa wants you to add to your podcast playlist, so he loves talking about podcasts, which is quite a relief because you can chat with him only so much about his belly button lint collection. Uh-oh, it looks like he's coming, and he's wearing a sweater. Time to hide.
Welcome to the Sherpa's Podcast Picks. It's the podcast about, podcasts. And now, coming to you from Mount Podcastia, here's your host who wonders what's on your podcast playlist, Jim the Podcast Sherpa.
Hello there, rebels of the Sherpa-lution, and welcome to Podcast Picks with Jim the Podcast Sherpa. And you know, that's me, of course, coming to you from Sherpa-lu Studios here in the Sherpa Chalet, high atop Mount Podcastia, where I overlook the millions and millions of podcasts that are out there. It's a mini episode. It's Sherpa Samples, and that is, as you no doubt have heard, where I get to check out what is on the podcast charts, and I get to chat about them a little bit. And maybe there might be some podcasts that you would like to add to your podcast playlist. So I will dive into that in just about a minute. But, I wanted to let you know that last week we did a Sherpa Select on Wednesday. I know we don't usually do too many of the encore shows on Wednesday. I like to do new episodes on Wednesdays and save our Sherpa Selects for Saturdays because it's, Saturday Sherpa Selects. But unfortunately, there was an episode that I've been working on, and I've had technical difficulties with it. Not once, but twice, unfortunately. And I wanted to get that episode out, and unfortunately, it did not happen. Hopefully, in the near future, it will. It was an interview that is a little bit different for me, I guess. And I hope it's something that you will enjoy. And I'll let you know when it's the technical difficulties episode. I figure I owe that much to you anyway. So I know we did the preview last week for season 2 of Big People Real Trivia with our episode on Simpsons trivia. So this week we're doing another short one, and it's Sherpa Samples. So you don't have to put up with me for too long. So there is a silver lining in all of this. Okay, so let me break out my list, and we will discuss Sherpa Samples. So Sherpa Samples, let's get into it. We have on film... with Kevin McCarthy. I think that he's a film journalist and he gets to talk to all sorts of people who make movies. And in this episode, he interviewed Kate Hudson about her career. And I like that family, that Kate Hudson, Goldie Hawn, Oliver Hudson, Wyatt Russell, Kurt Russell. They're just very talented and versatile actors. Just what an incredible family. Just they bring so much to the screen. Always enjoy whatever stuff they do. They're really cool people too. I like hearing them in interviews also. Jordan and Salish matter. This has to do with a father who filmed his kids doing a lot of different things, doing unique stuff like in this episode, it's a video episode. And in this episode, he took his kids on a dream vacation, but they had to do everything alphabetically. And they fit it all in from A to Z and really fun stuff. Very unique kind of podcast. Your World Within, and that is hosted by a guy named Eddie Pinero. I believe that Eddie is a TEDx speaker. He is a motivational speaker. I don't know if you call him a life coach or something like that, but I really like this podcast. It really puts you in a good frame of mind, and he's not salesy. It's not like he says 2 words and says, oh, by the way, for $5,000, I can make you rich. Nothing like that. It's really cool stuff. I've actually reached out to him through his website. And I have not heard from him, but I know he's probably got a very busy speaking schedule and he just might be hiding from us. Who knows? We'll never know. But Eddie, we're watching you. We are watching you. If you are a fan of the New York Times, they have a podcast called The Headlines. And The episode that I checked out was the week that Attorney General Pam Bondi was fired by the Trump administration. And they talked about a lot of other stories in there. And of course, it's the New York Times, so they know how to deliver a professional-sounding news podcast. So if you like the NYT, check it out. Chicks in the Office. This is hosted by two ladies named Rhea and Fran. They discuss a lot of reality TV and pop culture stuff and anything else that might fall in between. They were talking a lot about Survivor and also the incident regarding The Bachelorette, where they canceled the season because of the domestic abuse allegations against The Bachelorette. But I liked them. They were really cool stuff. They were actually even playing trivia with some people towards the end of the show, and that was kind of fun. Chicks in the Office. That's one you might want to write down. Bodycam Files, that's pretty much what you would expect it to be. It is a video podcast from actual bodycam files from, I guess, like police officers and security officers. And this episode that I watched had to do with a drunk passenger, and the airline did not want him to get on the plane. So you saw the perspective of the security guards who were keeping him off the plane. And, the guy was kind of out of control. But kudos to them. They were able to do it and really detained him in a proper manner. Nobody got seriously hurt. So that's good. And, sometimes when you deal with drunk people, it can be kind of nasty. But kudos. The Iced Coffee Hour. This is hosted by Graham and Jack, and they have a lot of interviews with successful people, and they really get their backstory in these interviews. I like their interviews. It's really well done. The two gentlemen are definitely very knowledgeable. I think the only issue I kind of had with the podcast itself, well, I didn't really call it an issue, but the title, I wouldn't think that a podcast that had interviews with successful people would be called the Iced Coffee Hour, because if I saw that, I would think that, they're going to talk about iced coffee. They didn't talk about any iced coffee. I don't even know what they were drinking during the course of the podcast, but really good stuff. Definitely check those guys out. Spittin Chiclets, that is brought to you by Barstool Sports, so you know that that's going to be some good sports talk. And of course, it is about hockey, as you would probably expect. It is hosted by four gentlemen. Some of them are NHL veterans. I think one or two are even sports writers. Some are American, some are Canadian. So, they know hockey and they love it. This episode was right after the Americans won the gold in the Winter Olympics of 2026. But, it's funny when you hear four guys doing a podcast, you kind of suspect that they're going to start talking over each other, but they really didn't. They really handled it well. Really a lot of respect to each other and the topic of hockey as well. So if you are a hockey fan, this is a podcast you want on your podcast playlist. Now you're going to ask, what is a Wendigoon? It should actually be, who is Wendigoon? And he is the co-host of a podcast that I believe we sampled called Creepcast. And this is really more of the same on this video podcast. Talks a lot about conspiracy theories and scary stories, unsolved murders. The story that I listened to was a tale about three Australian children. They were siblings, and they were kidnapped from the beach in the 1960s, and they were never found. And they discussed the various suspects involved in the case, but no one was ever actually arrested for the crime. It was definitely creepy stuff. But yeah, he's a guy who knows how to do scary stuff. So if you like it, check it out. And lastly, we had Day in the Life, which is a Spotify video podcast, and they follow Spotify artists. And in this episode, they followed Big X the Plug and 600 ENT. I know I sound like I know Big X the Plug. Well, actually, my other rapper name was going to be the opposite. It was going to be Little Sherpa the Outlet. But we will just move on from there. And anyway, it follows them around while they're on tour, while they're recording, while they're just chilling out. So Day in the Life pretty well sums it up. And since that sums it up, I guess that means that we can head into the outro. Thanks so much for tuning into Podcast Picks with Jim the Podcast Sherpa. We do new episodes every Wednesday, or at least we try to. And on Saturdays, we do our encores with Sherpa Selects. Those are the classic episodes, as I like to call them. And if you want to follow us on social media and see our silly little videos, you can follow me on Instagram or Threads at Sherpa-lution or TikTok at Sherpa-lution1. I remembered all of them. And of course, we are available on podcast apps everywhere. And of course, the Sherpa-lution YouTube page. You will notice probably within the next few weeks, there will be a couple of little changes going on. I have news. We will be soon relocating Sherpa-lu Studios. Very excited about that. Hopefully, you will get pleasant audio that you can enjoy in your earbuds or without your earbuds or through your car speakers while you hear my voice drone on and on and on. So, I mean, there is even a possibility that we may have to throw in a Sherpa Select on a Wednesday, but I hope you'll be patient. We will be picking up the pace regardless, and I hope to get some new guests to come on the show. And of course, we will be doing some more Sherpa samples in the future. I try to do one at least every month, and if we have to do an extra one, then we'll just do an extra one. I can do that. I'm capable. Okay, I guess that's all I really have to say. So until next time, I say to you, rebels, viva la Sherpa-lution.
Thanks for listening to the Sherpa's Podcast Picks. The podcast is now over. Please disperse and tell everyone about us. As long as they don't put us back in jail. Viva la Sherpa-lution!